Hi there, my name is Julie Fei-Fan Balzer, and I'm super excited today to show you how to make these cool earrings that I'm wearing. And they were made using the bits and pieces that were left over from a stencil that I cut using the Brother ScanNCut. One of the things that I love about the Brother ScanNCut is that absolutely nothing goes to waste. So this is the stencil that we previously made, and then here are the negative shapes that came right out of there. But instead of discarding them, I'm going to use them to make a really fabulous pair of earrings. So it's a little bit hard to see on this white background, but as soon as we start coloring, it'll be no problem at all. So I'm using some alcohol ink markers because they write really well, they draw really well on a slick surface. This is stencil plastic after all, or stencil film. You certainly could use any marker that will write on a shiny surface. And all I'm doing is basically coloring in very sloppily the background with yellow. Then I'm going to go to my next color, which is kind of a light green. And I'm going to go ahead and get in there. And I'm not going to cover everything because I don't want to totally color in the yellow, but I am going to color most of it. So the yellow is very minimal. Then I'm going to switch up to my next color, which is a darker, sort of more of a truer green. And again, I'm going to go ahead and color, but again, not everything. I just want to get some of it, but not all of it, so that the colors all show through. And finally, my fourth color, which is an even darker green, I'm going to go ahead and get that on there as well. I'm just looking to create texture, color, all sorts of good stuff. And now you can see I have these two colored leaves. I'm also going to take, this is a stamp, it happens to be a little wheel stamp, and I'm going to take a silver ink pad. And I'm just going to ink up some of this wheel. And this is, the reason I'm using a metallic silver is because I have dark hair, and I find, since we're making these into earrings, I find that things show up a little bit better if they have light colors, and I think the silver is going to be light catching. And then I'm simply going to roll the wheel right across, and if I feel like I want a couple extras, I can add those in as well. And then you can just clean this up with a baby wipe as you would any stamp, but now I have these great little silver dots. You do need to let this ink dry for just a minute, so I'll be back as soon as that has dried. Okay, these are mostly dry and I'm feeling a little impatient, so I'm simply going to punch a hole. I am using a jewelry punch just because it has a very small hole punch, but you could use any hole punch. There's nothing special about it in this case. It just has a very small hole, which I like to use. But you could use, again, like any hole punch you have around that has a nice tiny hole. Smaller than, obviously, for a piece of paper going into a binder or anything like that. The nice thing about this hole punch, just as a side note, if you do a lot of jewelry, is this goes through all sorts of really thick metal really easily. That's why it's one of my faves. But again, this stencil plastic is so thin, honestly, you can cut through it with, you know, a pair of scissors. It's very, very thin. So I'm just lining it up, get the hole in there, and unscrew it. Okay, so now I have my holes, and you're looking at the backs of these, and I have two earring hooks here, and I'm going to take a pair of flat nose pliers, and I'm simply going to open up my earring hook, and I'm going to slip on. I need to make sure the correct side is facing the way I want it to. Slip it right onto the hook, and then I'm going to close that up nice and tight, and I have one earring now all set and done. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other, and you can see how incredibly quick and easy it was to put together a pair of earrings from a little bit of leftover trash. And I encourage you, whenever I cut something with the Brother ScanNCut, I have a little container, which I'll show to you. By the way, there are my earrings. Pretty fabulous, right? But here's a little container that I have, and it's full of all the things that I cut away, whether it's these leaves or it's letters to use on something. But, you know, just keep a container of stuff nearby. You never know when it'll end up on your next project. And now I'm ready to put on my earrings and go out and party. Thanks so much for playing with me. If you'd like to find out more tutorials, information, lots of stuff, you can visit my blog at balzerdesigns.typepad.com. And if you want to know more about the Brothers ScanNCut, please visit ScanNCut.com.